Hey folks, this is Vince with Ads Gaming Addiction, and welcome to the DGA Awards for 2023. I am your host, Vince, and with me in the virtual studio is...
Italy. Hi.
Italy. Hey, it's been a while.
Yes.
Alright, so we haven't done a whole lot of podcasts lately, but we did want to try and at least do one of these end-of-year award videos, and we're going to try and do a video game one too, but I'm not going to promise anything. It's just been a crazy, medically rut-filled year. But hey,
Yeah.
we still like to play games and we still like to create content, so that's why we're doing this. And I also wanted to quickly thank my Patreon supporters for all of your support over this last year. It's been amazing. So I guess with that said, it's worth mentioning that this list for 2023 is going to be similar to last year in the sense that we're only going to really consider games that we've actually played this year, and it's regardless of release date. These games could have released back in 2010 for all I know, but these are games that we were able to play this year for 2023, so that's what we're kind of rating today. So let's just get right into it because I know you guys don't care. So let's just move on to our first number 10 entry. Each of us has our own top 10 list, and my number 10 was Healthy Heart Hospital, which is a cool little thematic cooperative game where patients come into a hospital and you're doing your best to get them admitted and treating them in order to prevent the hospital from being overrun. And you've got various doctors and administrators that have different abilities. They each have their own action points that they use to treat patients and the like, and their own special abilities. And you actually unlock new rooms to make your hospital better. You can get like employees or staff or something like that that give you special benefits as well. It's primarily, though, a bag grabber in the sense that most of the things that you do in this game require you to draw cubes of different colors from a bag. These can represent patients and treatment, like how successful you are in treating patients, that kind of thing. And the version that you're looking at now is actually a remake of the game that was released. I don't know when it was, but it was a long time ago. It was out of print, and then it was remade, and the theme, and I mean the theme still stayed the same, but visually the art style has been updated. It gave the game a nice lift. I really enjoyed this one.
Hmm.
I wanted to like play with other doctors and other upgrades that we had access to. There was even in the box a free like upgrade pack that had other things. I don't remember the name of it, but there were more cards and more doctors that we didn't even consider playing with on our first run. How did you like this one? Was it too hard, too easy? Did you enjoy the game overall?
I really liked the game. It was a mix of a bunch of other type of games that we played where we were trying not to get overrun,
Mm-hmm.
and there were some events, I guess, that we had to try and combat. The only reason why it's not on my list is because I don't really like the bag drawing. I thought like it doesn't feel true RNG just because like you can sort of like you can mix it up as much as you can, but
Mm-hmm.
it feels like what happens if you just pick up the same thing over and over like
Mm-hmm.
without even connecting your brain to it. I
It
don't know.
it really makes you think about your odds
Hmm.
a lot, like because there are something called black cubes in the bag,
Hmm.
and it's possible that like when you draw those, typically bad stuff happens. So like you have to weigh your bets. Okay, you can clearly see how many blue cubes are out or green cubes are out of the bag, and we haven't picked a whole lot of red ones lately, so maybe we focus on those. That kind of thing. So like it's you're constantly trying to weigh your odds in what colors that you're about to pick for whatever it is you're about to do. So you kind of have to
Hmm.
plan your actions accordingly. But I like this one. I think it was. I mean, it's cooperative too to boot, and it can be played solo, of course. What was your number 10?
My number 10 was Best Treehouse Ever.
Best treehouse ever. That's a cute little game. I
Mhm.
guess tell me about it since it's your entry.
I like it because it's cute and you get to build rooms and all the rooms are unique.
That's
and
all.
that's all.
That's all you really cared about when we played. Like
Yes.
when it was all said and done, you actually like made me not like I couldn't put the game away. Like you made me look at the different rooms and go, okay, what do you have in your treehouse? Oh, cool. What do I have in my treehouse? Cool. This is what we've got. So you were all about like the theme and just seeing what we got. In actuality, though, this is a very light drafting game where I think we pass rooms back and forth to each other,
Hmm.
Sushi Go style,
Hmm.
and we can only put rooms adjacent, like we can only put rooms adjacent to each other if they're of the same color. So
Hmm.
once you box in blue, you can't put any more blue rooms down. And there are different ways to score based on those rooms. There's also majority bonuses. And the one thing I didn't like about this was throughout the game, in between rounds during scoring, you can choose a color to like nullify so that your opponent doesn't get as many points from it. Like it's very take thatty, and I didn't like that aspect of it.
Hmm.
I mean, but it really, on the same token, I can understand it. It forces players to diversify a bit more rather than focus on one individual color to score. So I can understand why they did it. It's just I don't like that kind of system. But
Yeah, I wasn't even that fond of the gameplay, to be honest, the gameplay mechanics.
you just like the
But
treehouse.
I love the art. I love the treehouse. I love the colors, and I just love how each card is a unique room. And I want to actually build my own treehouse. Like I don't care about strategy when I play this. I just want to build the coolest treehouse.
Yes, yes.
That's why I
You
liked it.
look at the room type and you're like, yeah, I got to have that.
Yeah,
I don't care if it doesn't score many points. I have to have it in my
exactly.
treehouse. Yeah.
No, but it was actually really interesting trying to group up all the colors. I thought that was kind of cool too. But I don't know. I wasn't really playing as Take Daddy as I probably could have been. But I don't really remember feeling like I had to,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. I really liked it. I thought it was such a cute, fast little game like that you want to casually play on the go or something. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I agree. I really like
Mhm.
this game.
Mhm.
All right. Moving on to my number nine. I think it was.
Mhm.
Yeah, my number nine. That was a game I've mixed feelings about, but I liked it enough to put it on here. It was One Deck Galaxy. I like One Deck Dungeon, which was the predecessor to this game. One Deck Dungeon is on digital as well. Fantastic game. A lot of dice rolling. It's like a deck builder with dice. Like you're trying to make your character better in some way to get more dice so that you can then deal with the cards and the enemies that come up. Well, in this game, my complaint with it, and I've said this million times in the various videos that I've done for this, the rulebook sucks. I'll just put it out there. The rulebook sucks. So I've came up with my own, training bot. Like the difficulties were all over the place in this. So I came up with my own training bot via like a homebrew. And I love, once I got everything together the way I wanted it, it's a fantastic little game. There's so much to think about in this. Like in One Deck Dungeon, you get these cards that come up and you have to roll dice to try and complete them. Some of them are like immediate, like if you don't complete these in 3 turns, then something bad happens. Whereas others can persist as long as you want, and you can take care of them at your own leisure. The only downside of this game is there's a lot of tucking in this game. You're going to be drawing cards from the deck face down to tuck under things, either as one influence or two influence. You can tuck it as spaceships that you have. You can tuck it as research that you have. You can tuck it as a counter for the enemy as it's counting its own things. There's so many different ways to tuck these cards, and your deck is kind of like your life force. If you go through it too much, you end up losing the game. So, among other things. So, like, I really liked this game, but as a stipulation, only when I ta tailored and catered the rules to the way I like them, if
Hmm.
that makes any sense. The difficulty, once I got that, then I was happy with it. Trying to play this via the default rules was extremely frustrating at times because dice are dice and you're still going to roll badly. sometimes. So it's like, well, no matter what I do, I'm screwed here. But other than that, like, give yourself some extra dice for your run if you want. That's what I did. Like, I don't mind homebrewing stuff like that to make the game a bit more friendly. I know solo games are supposed to be hard, but at the same time, no one likes to beat their head against a wall. Well,
Hmm.
some people do. Some people do. But you can play this as one or two players. And if you play two players, each individual player's like starting dice are weaker. So it kind of like cancels out there.
You played this solo, right? I did not play this.
Correct. You haven't
Okay.
played this, but you did watch me. You
Yeah,
came down and watched me while I filmed it, and you
that's
made
right.
comments and asked about certain things. So
I
um,
I remember you saying that you hated the rule book. Like you were so
it
adamant about that.
sucks. Oh, I know. I know. I got sick of myself saying that, but at the same time, I felt like I had to drive home how much disdain I had for this rule book. Like I had declared war on it. Like seriously.
It's a
Um,
shame too because One Deck Dungeon is really, really good. And this one, it seems like it was just bogged down with the insane, discombobulated rules.
it fell into that syndrome of okay, I'm a developer and I've created a game and I know exactly how to play it. I know all the ins and outs and I'm going to release it to the public. And, people can read my mind, right? They know how to play this. That's some developers fall into that trap where they know how to play it, but they can't relay how the game is played very well to other people.
Hmm.
And I don't read minds, so I don't know how your game is played, so you need to teach me well.
Yeah.
Do a good enough job to show me how it's played. The rulebook just did not do that, and it's evident because in the FAQ, like they published FAQs on their website to sort of complement the rulebook,
Mm.
because people were complaining too much.
Yeah.
I know this is like my number nine. I'm complaining all the time here. So I'll get away from that and simply say, once I got this the way I wanted it, it's a fantastic game. I love that there's so many choices to make with these dice. Sign them to different cards. On the left hand side, whenever you complete a card, you can either tuck it to get extra dice, or you can tuck it underneath to get some kind of special ability. So the cards that you win and get can either be used as more dice or as special abilities that you can use. So, like, you're constantly thinking, okay, I want to go after this card for these dice, but I like that special ability over there. And then while you're doing that, the adversary that you're facing, that you choose to face, gets stronger and stronger and stronger. So you're as much as you want to engine build, you also have to keep him on his toes because the adversary will actually sometimes get weaker the more you go after it. So the adversary's abilities get weaker. Like in the case of the Hungry Nebula, which is the adversary for this particular game, if you don't knock it down a peg right away, it will do three bad actions like every time it activates, which is bad. But
Hmm.
if you knock it down a peg, it's only two. So like you're lessening how much bad stuff happens to you. So like you're kind of encouraged to go after it right away. So again, I created my own adversary training bot to compensate for the difficulty spike that Hungry Nebula, which is the easiest, is. But still, like I really enjoyed this one. I wish it was implemented better.
Hmm.
But that's just me. All right, enough about that. The next one on the list here is one that I had on my list, but I removed because I saw you had it.
Hmm.
Terraforming Mars, the dice game. Since it's your baby, why don't you talk about it, or what did you
Um,
like about it?
I wanted to put this up higher on my list, but all my like 6 through 9s and 6 through 10s are all the same, so I just put it right on my list.
Okay.
It's a it's a good game. Um, I it's it's a sweaty game. It's isn't this the competitive version, right?
This is the competitive one. The one that you're thinking of is Terraforming Mars Ares Expedition: The Crisis
Co-op.
expansion. That
Okay.
that Crisis expansion has a co-op mode where we
Yeah.
work together to keep Mars terraformed. It's already terraformed, and
Yeah.
now something bad is happening to it.
Yeah.
Terraforming Mars, the
This.
dice game, is the more
Mhm.
recent release that's competitive.
Yeah, I liked this one a lot. I loved that you can roll these dice and then build your cards off of it. I think. Yeah, it's been a while since I played this one, but I
Mm-hmm.
remember really enjoying it.
Yeah,
And
every turn you get a main action and a bonus action or something like that.
mhm,
It's a bonus action then your main action, I think in that order. And like you said, you earn cards to add to your tableau as you play. You're using
yeah.
your dice to pay for these cards, but you know they're used for other things too, like taking
But-
terraforming actions.
So you can use cards to, can you use cards to pay for other cards? I might be misremembering.
I'm having trouble remembering myself, but I do believe there is an engine building mechanic to this as well.
Hmm.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, this is one that I would love to go back to and like refresh my memory because I do remember enjoying it. Um, yeah, it was great. It was so
The
splendid.
engine building aspect is more getting dice because
Yeah.
whenever you like rest or whatever it is and recall, you get all of the dice that are showing on your cards. So like the whole like engine building is more like rather than getting particular resources like you would in Splendor, you're just getting dice of particular colors to roll, and then you can use them for your things to get more
Hmm.
cards or whatnot. So yeah, I like this one too. I backed it on Kickstarter and got some of the extra stuffs, the promo stuff. It was really good. And it's also solo compatible as well. So if you play solo Terraforming Mars, you'll be happy to know that you can play this solo as well.
I think you destroyed me on this too, didn't you?
I don't think I did, but I
For
know
like
one thing you
400
didn't.
points.
Yeah, nah, no. There was one thing you didn't like though. There were bonus cards that you got like off to the right are
Oh yeah,
bonus
that's true.
cards that you can just choose from once you reach a certain terraforming rating on the victory point track. Like once you reach a certain like number, you can look at the entire bonus deck, pick one, and then use it. You
Mhm.
didn't seem to like that very much, if I remember right.
I think because like I had bogus bonus cards, like I hated them all.
You just hated them all.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
I took them all before. I took all the good ones before you got to them, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All
That's
right, but
funny.
yeah, it's still a great game. I like this one.
It is.
My number eight was a game called Warp's Edge. This is a solo only game, so Idalee's never played it. It
Mhm.
takes me back to like Space Invaders, way back when, where it's kind of like you're the little ship on the ground, and you're shooting up at enemies as they're flying down at you. Only in this game, it's a bag builder, not a deck builder, but a bag builder. There are tokens in the bag. You draw 5 on your turn, and you have to use those tokens to shoot the ships, the enemy ships that are out there. If you don't hit them at least once, they attack you and do damage to you. So you have to like stun them with your tokens or outright destroy them. And as you outright destroy them, depending on whether or not you attack them with lasers or outmaneuvered them, you will get different rewards. It might be a new token to add to your bag, or draw 3 new tokens, or whatever. And there are different hero ships that you can pick from. Some have a balance of shields and hull. Some have like no shields at all, but a whole amount of health. Or one might have a special ability where it's weak, but if you destroy it, you don't completely lose the game. You just move on to the next warp or round automatically. So like you can choose between different hero ships. There are different boss ships as well that have different difficulty settings on them. But you only have 4 rounds, 4 complete rounds to take the mothership out or the enemy boss ship out before that is over, or else you lose. So it's a relatively quick bag builder as well, and it's very thinky. It's very puzzly on how it operates. You also get to draw special abilities as you play, and you're going to be using energy to activate these abilities. Energy can also be used to buy new tokens from the market, as well as to recover shields, if I remember correctly. It's been a while, but I'm pretty sure you can do all that. So yeah, I mean, I know you haven't played it, but is this something
Mhm.
that interests you, or is it just
Yeah,
like
I like bag builders. Isn't Bullet a bag builder? I don't remember.
Bullet is more Tetrisy.
Okay.
Bullet does not. You don't build a bag with Bullet. Rather, when you clear bullets from your own grid, your
Yeah.
bullets go into the enemy bag, and that's good because you want to make them bust. So
Yeah, that's
the
right.
more bullets in your bag, the worse off you are in Bullet.
It's a
So
bag B builder.
it's yeah, exactly. It's the opposite of a bag builder. You don't want bullets in your bag in Bullet.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, this there's a video game called This Means Warp, and I keep thinking when you say Warp's Edge, that's the game I keep thinking of. It has
no,
nothing to do with that, I'm
No,
sure.
no, 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 no. Wrong game. But
Yeah.
now,
Wait,
mhm.
this has two players, or
No,
is
it's
it
it's
only
it's
solo?
it's a strictly a solo player experience.
I see.
Hmm.
Okay. Cool. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah, I don't know. I never heard of it.
Okay.
I'll have to watch your video on that.
I see. Well, thank you for watching my channel, I guess. Moving
I
on
do.
to
I do, for the record. I do watch his channel
yes,
quite
you
a bit.
do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. On times two speed. Moving
I
on to number 8 times 5.
no.
Your number 8 was Dice Throne Adventures. I also had this on my list, but took it off because I saw that you had it.
Hmm.
First of all, Dice Thrones by itself is a fantastic game. It's a duel between two players. You can have more than that, but typically it's 1v1. But Dice Throne Adventures makes it co-op, and you're going to be fighting, like, it's a dungeon crawl, and then you fight a boss, and then it's another dungeon crawl, and then another boss, and then it's another dungeon crawl. And as you do this, you actually get to upgrade your deck, like in Hero Realms, or the like. That's really cool. So
Yeah.
your baby, your pick. So what did you like about this?
I love that it's co-op. I love the original Dice Thrones, the versus mode. The fact that this is co-op just made it so much better. But it just, I think I remember, if I remember correctly, it went on for quite a long time,
It
and I
did.
think that's why it's a little lower on the scale.
Because in the dungeon crawl mode, you have to get through, like, you fight a minion almost every tile.
Hmm.
So like you're constantly stopping to do battle, and then you come back to the dungeon crawl, and then you
Yeah.
do another battle, then you come back to the dungeon crawl, and
This
and
game
yeah.
this game puts the crawl in dungeon crawl. Just saying. That was hilarious. Okay, no, but really, it took a long time, but it was really fun. Um, the other gripe that I had was that it was a co-op, but I wish that the abilities were mixed together. Like I wish there was like, um, I don't know, in some games like Dynasty Warriors, for example, if you pull off your musus together, you get like this huge special ultimate ability or something. I kind of wish something like that
You mean
happened.
like in Simpsons, the arcade game, where Bart and
Sure.
Lisa hit buttons together, and they team up, and they kill everything and yes.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
but like if the Dice Throne characters like had, I don't know, a Dice Throne Adventures like separate book or something where I don't know, I'm just spitting um
I know you don't want
I'm
to
trying
say
to
what you
remember.
want to say there,
Yeah.
but
I can't even come
you're
up with the word.
spitting walls. Yes.
I'm spitting ideas. There you go.
Ideas, yes. Okay.
But
Yes.
like I really did enjoy the game. It's a colorful game. I love that you actually get to uh, go around like a dungeon, actual dungeon little map thing.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's not a lot to say for me personally because I don't know how to talk very well, but this is a really good game.
That's fine. I mean, Dice Throne by itself is
Hmm.
fantastic in that games are quick. It's a 1v1 duel, but it's very quick, and you can upgrade your abilities on your player board as you go. And I will say this, Dice Throne has some very unique characters in it. And if you play this one character, it's going to be a completely different experience than maybe playing against this other character. The
Hmm.
gunslinger, for example, is more like easy to get into, very straightforward, does some damage. Whereas if you get into the artificer, which is what I was playing here, I get to summon like robots, and they help me out with certain ways, healing, extra damage, but it's a bit more complicated to pull these things off. I will say that our individual deck of cards, like the card abilities, are typically the same. Like they don't stray too much from the norm, but our abilities on our individual board are so diverse sometimes. Even these characters, they have special tokens that are just unique to them, that you
Hmm.
typically won't see on other characters. There is some spillover, like this character might use poison, this character might use poison, but your Seraph, for example, on that one game we played, had a lot of like, I think it was some kind of religious holy thing where you could resurrect. I don't remember what you could do exactly with that character, but you had some really powerful like abilities on there.
Hmm.
But anyway, I'm kind of branching off.
Yeah,
Again, go ahead.
Dice Thrones, all the characters are so unique and like you said, And it makes me want to just write stories about them. Like when you have a game where it has so many like unique characters, it's like, oh,
Dice
I
Thrones
want
fan
to,
fiction on Reddit. I'm sure
yeah.
there's something. I'm just
Like
saying.
I want to know how they met. Like these people met.
It's not Mortal Kombat. You're not going to see a Dice Throne Adventures movie. I'm sorry. All right.
Mortal Kombat board game. There you go.
Heck no. Moving on to, let's
Number
see. This
7.
was number 7. This is
Hmm.
a video I have not published yet.
Oh.
So those watching this today will get a sneak peek of that. This is a game called Apiary. Apiary is a more relatively recent release, and I've only played solo thus far, but I absolutely love the game. There are so many choices. It's Space Bees, the board game, and you're going to be taking actions by placing bees of different values 1, 2, 3, or 4. And depending on the strength of that bee, it will make certain actions more less or more powerful. Putting a 4, which is the maximum worker strength, actually supercharges the action that you put it on and does something really cool. So putting it a 4 on this worker area might get me an extra 3 points, victory points, in addition to buying a tile or something like that. So there are different ways to play this, different ways to get points, but your ultimate goal is to build up your space hive by buying tiles. There's income, so like you do earn income. As you recall your workers, you gain income, and you get income from the farm tiles that are on your board, which is really cool. There's different ways to convert resources. There's like 5 different resources in the game. There's an exploration mechanic. So as you go to different planets and get resources, if you explore a new planet, you get to pick what new resource is discovered on that planet. And anyone that goes back to that planet in the future will get that resource. So there's a lot of cool ways to make a game unique. Different factions, different player boards. The solo game that I played was fantastic, and the AI went very smoothly. I know that you haven't played this, so you really can't offer a whole lot, but
Yeah, I wasn't feeling too well, and that's why I opted out to play this.
mhm.
But I actually wouldn't mind playing this. The only thing is that there's no dice, so
There's no dice.
that's so sad
Boo
to me.
hoo. There's a lot of randomness no in the tiles that come up.
Okay.
So like the green, blue, and orange or red tiles on the upper right, those are the market tiles. So again, the green ones are farm tiles. Blue is like workers, not
Hmm.
workers, but like specialists or whatever. They give you benefits throughout the game depending on what you do. And then the red ones are like one-time tiles. You buy them, you get a special thing, and that's it. But they still
Hmm.
go in your hive to fill it up.
Yeah.
So there is some randomness there. The 6 yellow ones in the middle, those are special, like end of game bonus tiles. They're hard to get because you need like honey to get them, and you have to put a 4 worker there to get it. But that's random. Those 6 are random, and there's like at least 20 some in the box. So and there's also cards too. So there's no dice, but there's a lot of RNG in other ways depending on what you
Yeah.
pick. But you'll have decision paralysis playing this, I will guarantee.
Oh, yay, it's a sweaty game, I'm
Yay.
sure. Is
Uh-huh.
it
Worker
worker
placement
placement,
it's
right?
at its heart it's a worker placement game, but with a lot of decisions. There's a lot to
Okay.
do.
Wow. Okay.
Moving on to your number 7 was a game called Splendor Duel. I honestly don't remember a whole lot about this one, although I can't imagine it plays all that differently from the original Splendor game. The biggest thing that stands out to me is that 5x5 grid where
Yeah.
you draft you draft these pieces from that 5x5 grid, whereas in Splendor you could just take whatever 3 you wanted as long as they were different colors. You could take 2 of the same color. In this game it's like, well, I've got a grid and I have to there's some special pick rules regarding that.
Hmm.
There's also those little scrolls that we would pass back and forth between each other, and that would give us some kind of way to break the rules. I don't remember how because it's been a while, but
Hmm.
ultimately you're still trying to get cards from a grid, and you're still engine building. So by
Yeah.
getting blue cards, you're supercharging your blue buying power because you've got more blue gems to buy with, that kind of thing. So it's still
Hmm.
Splendor, but it's more interactive, if I had to say. Because in
Yeah.
Splendor, if I remember right, Splendor wasn't really a take that kind of game because the only way you could screw over someone else is if you take a card that they needed. Whereas in this game, it's a bit more like in your face kind of thing.
Yeah, it was a little bit with regular Splendor, it felt more like a little free. With
Hmm.
this one, you really have to kind of think about what colors you're choosing, because it affects the other colors that you're choosing on the grid. And I actually kind of like that.
Hmm.
A little bit more strategy, not much, but a little bit more.
Hmm.
So yeah, it was really enjoyable. I mean, the first one was fantastic too, so
Yeah, I agree. Splendor is fantastic, and I liked Splendor Duel as well. I still like original Splendor only because it's a bit more casual. Like, I
yeah.
would not play this with your mom because she would get frustrated. But with Splendor, it's like you said, it's a bit more open ended and less in your face. So I would rather play regular Splendor with her because she's like I think she had fun with it when she did come
Mhm.
over. She enjoyed it, but I don't think she would like Splendor Duel because that's more like it's a thinking. It's more thinky.
Yeah, you'd have to really
It's
like
like playing
find
chess with
people.
someone. It's a bit harder to avoid
Mhm.
them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, that was Splendor Duel. Moving on to my number six was XCOM, the board game. I love this game. I don't get to play it very often because I don't have a whole lot of time, but it uses an app and it's very thematic to the video game. And I love it because as you play this game, you're going to gain more abilities, you're going to get stronger, you're going to get more research. And I love that the app controls everything and keeps the game flowing. You can play this on a timed mode, which is the normal mode, or you can put it on lax and turn the timer off, which is what I do. But like you're basically like like in the beginning of the round, the computer throws all of these things at you, and you have to on a time limit, typically normally do the things that you need to do and then hit the button before the time runs out. If you let time run out, you are actually penalized on future things. Whereas in the easier mode, it's like it's not going to penalize you. You can pause it. You can just do what you need to do. I prefer that way
Mhm.
because my dexterity is not what it
Mhm.
was. If I were 16, yeah, sure, I can do that quick. But in my old age, my tendonitis is going, nope, you can't grab that right now. Not that quick anyway. No. So yeah, I like it because it's just it's very much like it's like Independence Day the movie. Like that's that whole scenario. Luckily, there's no Will Smith and trying to save the planet. It's more the players trying to work together to stop the alien threat and finish the final mission. And the final mission doesn't come up until you complete a series of missions, or like doing missions makes it come up faster, but just by surviving, it'll eventually come up. But in the meantime, UFOs attack the planet. Um, Enemies will attack your base, and if they get through, game over. And there's panic as well, so you're trying to manage panic levels and keep your income up. I love this game.
Did we play this year?
I played it solo.
Oh, okay, okay, okay,
We
okay.
played it the year before, I think, as a two-player co-op, but I
I
played
see.
it this year as a solo. And I checked back to my previous top 10 lists for the last couple of years. XCOM was not on there. And when you
Really?
took Terraforming Mars, the dice game, I'm like, well, I know what I'm going to replace it with. I got XCOM on here.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, otherwise I would have put XCOM on my list because I love this game. Like this game was fabulous. I want to keep playing it and we just don't have time.
It's that dice is awful though, because as you try to complete checks in this game, like the
Hmm.
minimum die result that you need keeps going up and up and up and up and up. So it gets harder and harder and harder and harder to do the same action over and over and over again. So it is dice heavy.
Yeah.
There are ways to like through research to modify dice results and to re-roll dice, but it's still there is RNG in this, so just be warned. A lot of dice
Yeah.
rolling.
I
Um,
like the hecticness and the RNG because even if you crash and burn, I don't know, it's kind of fun.
you like the
Like,
crash and
oh,
burn.
3 seconds left and we're not getting it. And
Hmm.
then like the world just explodes and it's like, oh,
Hmm.
but let's do it again.
Of course.
Mhm.
My favorite part is the research. Like,
Yeah.
I love getting new cards and I love chaining these abilities together to thwart the alien. I love stuff like that. I love. That's why I like playing the video game XCOM because I want to get better weapons. I want to get better this. I want to get better that. And this board game kind of makes me feel the same way when I'm getting stronger.
Mhm.
But of course, the aliens get stronger too. So there you go. But yeah, XCOM the board game, it's out of print, but it's still fantastic if you can find it. Next up is a game that I enjoy playing. I even made my own missions on. Deep Rock Galactic, the board game. The reason, I mean, this has been out for a while. We've played it over the last couple of years, but the Goo from Above expansion, we decided to play with that for the first time this year. And any excuse to add this to the list is, that's fine. So
Yeah,
this was Idalee's number 6. So I
yeah.
guess tell me about Deep Rock and why you like this so much.
Rock and stone, baby.
Rock and stone to the bone.
No,
Molly.
I it's funny because like we talk about this all the time. Deep Rock, we talked so much about it, and I can't even find the words right now. But the goo expansion makes it a little bit different in the sense that there's new enemies,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
then there's goo that slows you down.
Yep.
As a scout, luckily for me, it doesn't slow me down that much.
Yes, you have a
But
grappling hook. You can walk over goo pits and all these other things. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um,
And
so
the enemies are a little bit harder, right? Just a little bit.
yeah, the goo bomber is the
Hmm.
one that shoots the goo, and then you've got the Glyphid Menace,
Yeah.
which, if I remember correctly, whenever you shoot it, it burrows and it cannot be damaged anymore for that turn, and then it reappears later.
Yeah, it's basically a moving machine gun, so it's kind of tough,
It's
right?
nasty. It has range and it does some decent damage.
Hmm.
So Deep Rock, just to give some background, Deep Rock Galactic is a video game. It started off as a video game, cooperative. It's like Left 4 Dead, but with dwarves and mining and persistent progression, where as you mine minerals, you can go back to the rig and spend those minerals and you can get modifications, you can buy better weapons, you can upgrade various things. The board game came out last year via Kickstarter. It's not going to get into retail, so sorry. Um, and it's a similar thing where each player picks a dwarf. You've got special abilities, and your goal is to get through the level before the timer runs out, or you're all dead. Typically, I do have a how to play video out on my YouTube channel. It's about 40 minutes long. It doesn't cover everything, but it'll give you 90% of what you need to know in order to at least understand the basics of it. But if you want to learn more about that, I do have a how to play video on my YouTube channel. But I liked this game only because it's very easy to create your own levels, and there's even new content coming out via Kickstarter. A recent Kickstarter came out, and there's a space rig expansion. There's like dreadnoughts now. There's the pipeline mission, the escort mission. So if you've played the video game, it's very thematic, and all of this will make sense to you. What I'm saying.
Hmm.
Whereas if you've never heard of Deep Rock Galactic before, rather than spend $200+ on the board game on Kickstarter, maybe go check out the video game, which is super cheap. It's like 10, $20 on a sale, whatever. And it's a lot of fun with friends or even solo. Bosco
Yeah.
will follow you on solo mode and help you out.
And it's not a 4X game on the video
It's
game.
a real
It's
time. It's like Left 4 Dead. It's like Left
yeah,
4 Dead and
a
other
first
first person
person.
shooters.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And the only thing with the board game is that it has a lot of little minute rules that is kind of difficult to get a handle on sometimes because there's so many and there's so little. And the rule book is what, like 167 pages or something?
Well, okay, so let's back that up.
Sorry.
It's let's just say that there are a lot of rule books. What
Hmm.
the main rule book is probably like 20, 30, but then the expansions that came out have their own rule books. You've also got the mission books. So like between all of the different rule books, you're reading over 100 pages worth of stuff. If you take all the stuff and put them together, the rule book itself is like 10, 20 pages. The mission book is like 10, 20 pages. The new expansion stuff that's coming out is like 20 some pages each rule book. So yeah, that is like a lot to read through. In its defense, there are other games out there with more minute rules than this one.
Yeah.
I'll just say that. Like Deep Rock Galactic, the board game, is actually mild compared to some of the other miniature games out there that
Hmm.
I've played. So this one is a bit more accessible to the new player. I'm not saying it's easy to get into. I'm just saying it's more accessible to get into. But yeah, I like this one. It was fun.
I I don't know. Like I feel like people who don't know what Deep Rock is, I don't know how they would think because this is a game for people who are like a huge fan huge fans of Deep Rock because everything is so familiar. Whereas someone who's getting in on this on the first time will be like, well, what the heck is going on? You know?
I can't, but here's the thing, because the game is not being sold retail,
Hmm.
the only people that really back it on Kickstarter are people that know what Deep Rock Galactic is. But there's
Yeah.
such a huge following. Like, if you look at the Deep Rock Galactic Discord channel,
Hmm.
it's one of the busiest. Like, Phasmophobia is busy, but
Hmm.
Deep Rock Galactic has a huge following. So most of the people that back this game already have Deep Rock Galactic background understanding.
Yeah.
I can't imagine, maybe 1 to 5% of backers have never heard of the board game, or
Yeah.
the
The
video game
video
rather.
game.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So like, I can't imagine there's too many people that have never heard of the video game before.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, that's just my thought
Fair,
process.
fair enough. Yeah.
So my number 5 was Raising Robots. This is a game that we played recently. It's a cross between Wingspan and Race for the Galaxy. It's like Wingspan in that you have rows of, there's 5 cards that you can put in each row. And like in Wingspan, you're going to be adding robots to these rows. And when you take the action to the left of these cards, you also get to activate all of the cards to the right of that action. And that's a lot of fun, just like in Wingspan. So it's like a deck. It's not a deck builder, but it's like an engine buildy, tableau building kind of action system. And it's like Race for the Galaxy in that there are 5 different phases, and certain phases during a round only get activated if players actually pick them. In a 2-player game, there's actually an AI deck as well that will randomly pick a phase. And there's also energy in this game. Energy is like a primary resource. And depending on how much energy you have for that phase, that will determine how strong or how many things you can do during that phase, if that makes any sense. So if you only have 1 energy going into this phase, you might do the weakest action and then that's it. Whereas this other player goes into that same action with 7 energy. They can do this action, they can do this action, they can do this action, and when they get to their robots, oh, well, I've got enough to do this action, this action, this action. So it's also about energy management, which is a lot of fun too. And it's also available on solo as well if you're interested. What did you think of this? Did you
I liked this game. It was Wingspan and what did you say earlier?
race for the
Race
galaxy? Hmm.
as if they had a baby, but the baby was then drugged with steroids. So
Yes, it is. It is a bit more thinky. Like
yeah.
it's like Wingspan 2.0. It really is. That's how I see this.
The
Um,
reason why it's not on my list is because of the steroidal aspect of it.
the
Like
steroidal.
the,
Yes, you're anti-steroid. I get it.
it has so many little like decisions that you kind of have to keep like on top of. Um, there's a column where you can take it all at the same time if you have that much energy, but then there's a another column that has like the or aspect, not the and aspects. But then when you go to the rows, you can only take one action of the card if it has, I don't know. There's two, I think to me it was a little bit confusing.
I
It's
understand.
kind of confusing,
Hmm.
but I like this game and I would play it again. I think people who like to build a tableau would like, something like this.
People who
If
played
they can,
Wingspan but want more.
yeah, like if they can get behind the little complicatedness that it had in the beginning, and then once you wrap your head around it, I think it's a really decent game.
My favorite part was the upgrade system. I really
Hmm.
enjoyed, like, there are tokens that start on like on the left of your grid, and as you purchase these upgrades, you can remove them from your grid, make something on the left more powerful when doing so. But then that token can go somewhere on the right where your cards are, your robots, and make them
Hmm.
more powerful. So you're actually upgrading twice. Removing a token upgrades something on your left, putting that same token somewhere else on your right makes a robot more powerful. So like,
Yeah.
I love that aspect of it. It's really fun.
Oh, that's what I was thinking of when we were back when we were talking about the Terraformers Dice bonus cards. So you had taken all the bonus cards before I could even get them, and with this one, I just had really crappy bonus cards.
That's that what that
I
was?
remember. Yeah, and
Okay.
that's why you beat me by like 400 points with this
It
game.
was not 400 points. It's more like
At least.
399, but it's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no. Your number
Five.
five was Point City.
Yeah.
Tell me about Point City.
I loved this city. Or the city, this
This
game.
city. We built this city. Yeah.
We played Point Farm. I think it was a Point Farm with my mom when she was here.
Yeah.
And it's an okay game.
It
Point
was
Farm is
Point
okay.
Salad. Point Salad.
Point salad. There you go. Point
Point
farm.
Farm.
Point vegetarian.
Yes. Point Chicken.
That's what we need. We need a point meat game now.
Yeah. Point
No, but
Protein. Yes. Yeah.
Point Farm was a good game, and but it was very simple, and it doesn't really. Did I say Point Farm again?
I think you did, but I'm just going to
Okay.
laugh and let you continue.
And I needed something more than point salad. There you go.
Yes.
So when we played Point City, it really scratched that itch, and I want to play it again, more so than Point Salad. Okay.
Thousand Island dressing. Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Now we just need a point rural, maybe a point urban or something.
Wow. So Point Salad. The main difference between the two games, this one is very grid based.
Hmm.
There's a 4x4 grid in this, and you take from this grid, and there's an engine building element to it, which is kind of cool. I don't know what happened there, but yeah, there's an engine building aspect to it where as you buy these cards from the grid, it actually those resources help you to afford some of the better cards that are going to come up. So it's kind of like Splendor in that sense.
Hmm.
But I liked this game. I don't know if I liked it more than Point Salad. Point Salad was easier to get into, whereas this one was a bit more like thinky. Because
Well, point,
when you take cards
yeah,
from the grid, they have to be adjacent to each other, and
yeah.
you can either take it as a resource, or you're either going
With
to take it as a resource or buy the building itself.
with point salad, it's like more of a set collection. You don't
Hmm.
actually really build anything with the stuff that you're collecting.
Correct.
And I love that about this game. Like I'm like, wait, what kind of game is this? This is kind of different. But the art too was just so cute. And I was so pathetic. I just wanted to like just look at all the art and like just lay out all the cards and say, "Oh, look, I have like this and that like utility thing." And I don't
Hmm.
know. It was so cute. And it's kind of it's kind of like the best treehouse ever, where all the cards are like kind of unique, and I want to look at them all day as I build my stuff.
I'm pretty sure you wrecked me in this one too.
Did I? I don't
I'm
remember.
pretty sure you did.
Oh, this is back in the blue tape days. Oh, sorry.
Yes, it was. Yes, my arm tape.
Yeah.
Moving on to my number four is a
Yeah.
game called Earth. I play this against the Atama on Tabletop Simulator, and I played the physical game with you. It is such a
Hmm.
beautiful game.
Yeah.
Like in Everdell, you are building a 4x4 grid of cards. And what's different about this game is that whenever you take, there are different actions you can take. There's like brown action, the blue action, the yellow action, or green action, whatever it is. And when you take that action, you can activate all of the cards of that same color in your grid. So there is an engine building aspect to this. And while you're building your grid, trying to synergize points, you're also trying to on the very top. There's various animal cards, and these are like goals that you're trying to complete for end game scoring. And in the basic game, there's like four, I think, but in the advanced game, there's like six of them. So like you're trying to like be the first one to do this. Like some of them are for end game scoring, some of them are for the first person to reach this milestone gets the points or whatever. So there are so many different ways to score in this game. There's you can actually like on the cards that you're placing in your 4x4 grid, you can start building flora. Like there's trees, so there's the trunks and then there's the top, and you score points for that too. It's kind of like the eggs and wingspan, whereas in this game it's like there's actually layers to these trees and the like. And overall, it's a beautiful game. a lot of fun. I know Ida Lee had a tough time with her game on this one because like I finished the game before she was almost halfway done with her grid, and I felt so bad for doing that. But
That's okay. I actually did enjoy this game. Um, Unfortunately, I don't remember a lot of the positives, which I know I had more positives than negatives.
mhm,
But the negative that I had that I really didn't like is the whole little tree building thing on the cards
the
that you
tree
do.
building, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why, but I really despised that. Like, I wish that was just taken out of the game and then I would play it in a heartbeat.
Do you have the same problem with Wingspan and that the eggs need to be used to buy or to?
No,
No, you didn't mind
no.
the eggs in Wingspan.
I liked the eggs and wingspan. I thought it was really cool, but for some reason, I hated the trees in this one, like the little layers of trees that you had to build, include and then like the little green like cone. I don't know why, but that like bothered me.
You heard her. You heard it here, folks. Wow, I can't even speak. You heard it here first, folks. There we go. She hates
Mhm.
Arbor Day, is what I was trying
No,
to say.
no, that's not true.
I'm
That's
kidding.
not
I'm kidding.
true.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I just for some reason, and maybe it's because I couldn't get behind like trying to build fast enough or build the trees, but like I just wanted to rage quit, like flip the table because I
Hmm.
couldn't build the stupid trees. And that was the only really thing. That was one of the only things that I remember about this game. But I know that I had a lot more positives in this game because I really did enjoy it. But man, that tree thing, that was rough.
Hmm. All right. Well, moving on to one that
Hmm.
we think we both liked. This was
Yeah.
another glorious Aliens, another glorious day in the core, and this is takes place during Aliens 2, if I remember. Aliens.
Yeah.
There's Alien, the first movie, and then there's Aliens, the second
Yeah.
movie, and this takes place during the second movie, where they find Newt, and then there's that facility where they're rescuing people from, and um, you said this was the best movie in the Aliens
Oh
series,
yeah.
correct?
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And how did you? I mean, you're the Alien expert, so I'll let you talk. So, what
Oh,
did you
jeez.
like about this?
I love that we had to save Newt from Salamander. No, just kidding.
Wow.
But I I don't know. Like there are the other Aliens games, like the Nostradamus game, and I think there was another Aliens game that we had played. Um and then the one that we don't have that we have not played, but we do have.
Hmm.
Um a
Nemesis.
big yeah, Nemesis, there you go. It's huge. We haven't played it yet, and I'm dying to play it. This game wasn't I don't think would be as good as Nemesis, and I don't think is as good as Nostradamus, but
Nostradamus. Nostramus.
Whatever,
Nostradamus was like a
I
science.
know the vampire or something.
Yes.
Sorry. I get
The
the
Nostromo, isn't it? The Nostromo?
Nostra.
You're the alien
Yeah,
expert. You
I
tell me.
know,
Isn't it the
I know.
Nostromo?
It's been a crazy morning, but
The Nostradamus.
it's only my favorite movie because of,
Yes, it's
Bill
your favorite
Paxton.
movie.
Game over, man. Okay. But I this game wasn't as good, I think, as the other Aliens games that we played, but I still really liked it because it was thematically correct and the cards were pretty amazing. I did like that there were grunts and lieutenants on either side of the card, so you
Hmm.
can pick like if you want to promote or demote yourself.
Hmm.
Um, and it's just it's very like you said in the actual video, it was very big scale, was it? Or it was scaled for like a group of people instead of like individuals,
Kind of.
if I'm saying
So,
that
so
correctly.
it's a miniature crawl of sorts where you pick a
Mhm.
team of like 6 people, and unlike other games, you control all 6 of them, which is crazy.
Mhm.
Each player will choose one of those 6 people to play as and flip that character to their active side. The active side is more buffier, like stat wise, whereas the grunt side is for the people that you're not controlling directly, but you can still move them around and do things on your turn if you want to. So each character has their own slots for weapons. They have their own slots for utility stuff. So like there's a lot to manage. There's a lot of maintenance to do while you're playing this. Aliens, my favorite part though is when aliens spawn on the board and they come at, like they start off as blips until you see them.
Yeah,
And then
that's
when they
cool.
reveal, you flip the token over, the blip token, and it tells you how many aliens there are. And then they start spawning. And then they come after you. And this game is very swingy in the sense that you can be doing really, really, really well. And then bam, just bad dice rolls. Two people are now dead.
Hmm.
It's very swingy that way.
But you can, there are still missions in between where you can rescue people
Yes,
because they're not technically dead, they're just taken and
they can
put
die
to
as
the.
well.
Yeah, yeah.
There can be both. So you can play this as a one-off, or
Hmm.
you can play this as a campaign mode. And
Hmm.
campaign mode, like you said, you go from like missions 1 through 3. If you've got the one expansion, it goes from 1 through 5. In between, if anyone got captured, you can do a rescue mission. If you start to run out of cards in your supply deck, you can go on a mission to resupply cards that have been discarded and out of the game, that kind of thing. So yeah, there's a lot here, and I highly recommend checking out our videos on this to get a better handle. But typically, you're moving miniatures around a board, trying to complete a mission before the aliens murder you, and
Yeah.
they just get harder and harder and harder as you go. So you're trying to complete these missions. The biggest hurdle for us was remembering when to use all these stupid abilities. Like every character has some kind of ability, and I'm like, oh my god, the one who was the main guy from the movie, like the higher
Al
ranked one.
Capo, Al Capo.
No, the one higher than that.
Oh,
Wake
oh
him
my
up,
mind.
or I don't know, the the guy, the
Wake up, Johnson. Yeah, I know. Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot his name.
how
How
could
did
you
I
do
forget?
this? It's the guy
How
with
could
the.
I
I
do
mean,
this?
it's he's the guy
The
in the
guy with
hat.
the hat.
He was in the APC, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Um. Oh man, I'm gonna get
all
it. Go
right. Well,
ahead. You can keep
while you're
talking.
thinking, I'll stall as best I can. Thank you very much, aliens expert. Uh huh.
I
So
know, right?
yeah. So like yeah. So getting back, it's just that one guy had 3 different activation abilities.
Gorman.
Thank you,
Sorry.
Gorman. At the beginning, everyone is yelling at their screen, "It's Gorman, you noobs!" Anyway, yeah, so he had like 3 different ways he activated on his turn. Once at the beginning of his activation, one at the end of his activation, once during his activation. It's like, and then when you get into the expansion stuff, you can add these cards like the gunner card or the specialist cards or the ranking card that you can level up with. Remembering to use all of these things is just, oh my gosh, there's just so much. So like
Yeah.
that was my complaint, was I feel like I missed stuff, while I was playing. But
And there's so many characters because you are controlling so many characters, whereas in the other Aliens games, you're only controlling maybe like one at a time,
one,
like
right.
just one.
Nemesis, you control it one character.
Hmm.
And the Nostromo Aliens Nostromo
Nostradamus,
game. That was the Nostradamus,
the
yes.
vampire one.
Yes. Yeah, that's one character as well. So in this game, it's like it's a whole squad that you're
Yeah.
that you're both managing together.
I'm
So
so I'm almost relieved that there's no Jonesy the cat, and I
really,
think almost just because it was thematically correct, and I thought that was like really cool that they kept up with the movie, with the actual movie.
I know. It's just I wish it was a card that referenced Jonesy
Yeah,
in some way, like memories of Jonesy, and then it's just
yeah,
Ripley thinking about the cat or something. You know what I mean? Some kind of special, just sort of one sort of cameo would be
I
nice.
agree. I agree. Like Ripley's daughter too, who passed
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
Like,
Well, there
yeah,
was a reflections card in
that's
in,
right.
in the expansion. That was referencing the beginning of the Aliens movie,
Yeah,
where she was sitting in that holographic room with the screen or
garden.
whatever, and she was on that bench.
Hmm.
Anyway, so yeah,
Oh man,
so
I'm watching the movie right now.
yes, yeah. While we're recording, we're gonna watch the movie. Okay. So anyway, so yeah, my only complaint with this is I had to buy it used, and luckily I got it for a good price. I had to buy it used because the pieces, the miniatures, do not come pre-assembled. You have to physically glue them together. So unless you know how to do that, if you're not good with minis and you've never glued stuff together before or have no inkling and don't care to do it, do not buy this game or buy it used like I did. That's what I did.
Right. You don't have to assemble them, right? You could just take the minis and put them flat,
No,
right?
no,
No.
no.
Oh.
They literally come in pieces. Gorman, for example, comes in like 4 different pieces, and you have to glue the arm here, and then you got to put the torso here, and then the head comes on here, and then the back, like whatever. Like they're not that bad, but the aliens, like they do require. There's at least 3 pieces that you have to glue together.
Why would I don't understand. Why would abort
Money,
yeah, I don't know. That's weird.
production costs, because Gale Force 9, or was it Gale Force 9 or WizKids? They did not want to shell out hundreds of dollars to have something like that produced, which I don't understand personally. I think, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of miniatures in this, but at the same time, I feel like, so what? Sell a game that's 20, $30 more expensive, make it a $70, $80 game. At least it's all pre-assembled and stuff. I would have paid for that. But no, I have no care in the world. I would never buy a game and then have to spend days assembling it. I'm sorry. I would not
I
do
mean,
that.
if it's cheaper, I guess I'd
It's
understand.
still a
Yeah.
40, $50 game, not pre-assembled.
Yeah.
My point is, it's ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
how many games do that? Not very many.
No, not very many
All right.
games
Well,
do
getting
that.
out of this complaint session, let's move on. To my number 3. Wow.
3? Yeah.
Yeah, This War of Mine. I really like this one. It's so thematic. It's based off of the video game. I think you see where I'm going with this list. And this is another board game adaptation that I really enjoyed. Super thematic, and it plays like the video game in that you are playing with a small group of non-heroes. These aren't people with superpowers. These are real life people with their own problems. They get stressed out. They get sick. They die. What's cool is that there's an entire book of events that you can read from, and it's a bleak game. Like, it's depressing. So if you're hoping for sunshine and rainbows, this game is just not it. You have to manage food, you have to manage water, you have to manage weapons, tools, and in between scavenging at night, you are going to be building your base during the day and taking actions there. Just like in the video game, you're digging out rooms and then you're going to build stuff there with the resources that you're collecting after your scavenging runs. And your scavenging runs can go badly too, depending on what events happen there. There's an entire deck of events that could happen as you're exploring these places. How did you feel about this game?
Oh, this was exhausting.
Exhausting.
Mentally, physically. It
Every
was
every round took 20 to 30 minutes. We have several videos out there. Like, it took us a couple of days to finish this, if I remember correctly. Like, we
yeah.
did we did a couple of rounds one day, and then another couple of rounds the next day, and then we finally finished it. But it is one of those exhausting games where, unless you've got the mental preparedness, I guess, to handle a long bout of maintenance, then maybe don't play this. There are other games
Yeah.
that you can pick up and play a lot more easily. But I
This
love the theme. I love it. I really do.
Yeah, this is fun. You get to go exploring. I love the story-based cards too, or like the books. The
Hmm.
book has like a whole story thing, and whatever the card tells you to read and reference. I love the story and how it plays out. It's like a choose your own adventure board game.
Hmm.
And it was fun. Like, I liked exploring the different locations and then bringing back resources. And we were pretty good at the game, I think.
That's
I think
because I homebrewed
homebrewed it.
it.
Yes, I know. Look at all those resources down the bottom. So we would probably have like less than half that had we played normally because this is a very, very difficult game.
This was the second to last episode of the series, so that's why
Yeah.
we've got so many things.
Yeah. So like even in the video game it's a very difficult game all around.
Hmm.
But it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be really hard and it's pretty fun. Like you get a sense of self-satisfaction when something actually manages to pull through,
Hmm.
which is very rare.
Yeah, typically. I mean, trying to keep your people, because like as your people get weaker, they get less actions that they can do during the day. So if they
Hmm.
get frostbite, for example, it gets worse, and then they can't do anything or
Yeah.
whatnot. And like you said, there's that book of events. And what's cool
Hmm.
is that there's actually a deck of 5 colors It's just color like red, blue, black. And when an event pops up, it tells you to draw a card from that deck. So there's 5 different ways that event will resolve, which is really fun.
That's
So
really cool.
yeah, so this War of Mine, excellent game. Just be prepared for a very long session when you do end up playing it. Your number 3
Three.
was Shipwreck Arcana.
Yes. Oh, I love this game. It's just math. It's math with cards and bluffing and guessing. No, not bluffing. Guessing because it's a co-op, isn't it?
It's co-op. It's a logic puzzle co-op game
Yeah.
where you draw 2 numbers from a bag and you play one of those numbers on the cards that are in front of everybody and you keep the other number.
Mm-hmm.
And based on what you did with the other number and put it on which card, people will, like, through process of elimination and logic and deduction, try and figure out what number is remaining in your hand, because the cards on the table have different logic modifiers or conditions. So this one might say odd on it. So if you put a certain number on the odd card, then you'll know, okay, so wait a minute, that means they don't have an odd number in their hand. So that means, but they didn't put it on this card over here. They could have put it on this card over here, but they didn't. That tells me that they don't have this number over here. So, like, you're trying to figure out what numbers everyone else has based on what they've played so far. And it's a, like you said, a cooperative game, and you're trying to get so many points before that red moon token goes all the way around the clock or whatever it
Yeah.
is. Yeah, it's a fun game. I like this one.
I don't know. I adore this. I feel like when I play this, I feel like I'm doing a math workbook with someone else, and it's just logic puzzles are so much fun.
Yeah. And plus, it's like, at the same time, it's also, you have to know the other person. Like, how do they think? Did they
Yeah.
mean this when they put this number here? Did they mean this? I think they meant this. And then in our first session on camera, I could have sworn my face, no one could see it, but my face, I was clenching my face into myself as you
Yeah.
were making these logical deductions, quote unquote deductions, about what I was thinking. And it was completely wrong. So, but it was fun. It was really fun.
And then we played with someone else on Tabletop Simulator, and that was a lot of fun too. I think I prefer it more than 2 players because
With a group. Yeah.
yeah, with a group because I think the choices get expanded or something when the cards come out. You get more. I don't know. It's just look at our videos.
Yes. Go look at the video. You'll see.
Go look at the videos.
Go look at the videos, people.
Don't listen to me anymore.
Don't listen to me. Turn this video off. No, don't do that.
No, don't do that. Just mute me.
Yeah, just mute you. Every time your mouth opens, hit the mute button. Yeah. All right. My number 2,
Yeah.
Frostpunk, the board game. Another long-winded game, but it's so thematically fun that I've played it at least 3 times now. And once on tabletop when I got used to it. And then I bought the board game. And oh my gosh, it's pretty in person, let me tell you. You're dropping black cubes into the huge... It's not on camera right now because it's just so large, but you're dropping black cubes into this huge tower, and it'll spit coal back out at you, and that represents your overheating. The weather is going to get worse and colder and colder and colder and colder, and you're trying to build these buildings to offset all of these negative things from happening. You're trying to feed your people. You're trying to, make people happy and collect resources. Go play the video game Frostpunk, and you'll see what I'm talking about. And I think your favorite part of this was the events that came up. These events pop up, and they ask you to make a decision, and then it says put card 25 into the deck as the result of your decision. So you might see the result of that decision in a future round, or you might not, depending on how quickly the game ends. So, you could make a really positive choice right now, but then there's a negative consequence to that choice that you haven't seen yet. But your ultimate goal is to beat the scenario, which in the standard game, it's like survive, I don't know, what is it, like 10, 11 rounds, something like that.
Survive, and then when the final winter hits, oh my gosh, it's
It's
crazy.
rough. Yeah.
The apocalypse.
Mm-hmm.
But I did not play this in person, but I remember playing it on Tabletop Simulator with you and two other friends.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, man, the girls and I, the other girl and I,
The girls.
the girls, we we probably only understood 20% of the game because you guys like took the reins and we were still so lost. We were like, what is going
Why
on?
didn't you say
And
something? I would have helped.
it's okay. I think I think you guys knew because as we kind of stayed quiet and stopped inputting our
Mhm.
opinion, the game went by a lot faster, and that was a long game. And
Yeah,
it was just like, just keep going. I don't even care anymore. Just do whatever.
but you spoke up though during those events. Like that was your favorite part.
I liked the events, yes.
Hmm.
But this is a really long game. This was I think I preferred this War of Mine over this one, but only because I didn't understand the rules too much. I think if I play it again, I'll understand the rules and maybe I'll like it better. But the video game is fantastic. I don't know how the board game is boring to me, but only because I didn't understand it.
Yeah, no, I this game like this War of Mine is super thematic
Hmm.
to the video game.
Yeah.
So that I highly recommend this one, but because it's so large, check it out on Tabletop Simulator first because
Hmm.
the mod is free on there and you can try it before you buy it. You
Yeah.
know, it'll save you tables because this game's huge. It's a huge box. I'm telling you, it's big.
And they don't include this in the board game, but you need like a cell phone and then a video of a repeat of a soundbite where the guy goes "Nula" and then
Hold
the
on.
ringing of the bell.
Are you talking about a certain?
Yeah, a certain sound effect.
All right. I'm gonna have to cover your face momentarily to open my soundboard, and
New law! A new law has passed.
it's on my Discord sound effects
Wow.
because it had to be.
It's so good. I don't know what it is about that little sound, but it's so good.
All right. Well, moving on to your
Yep.
number two, was it?
Yep. Yep.
Sides? I'm surprised to see this so high up there. What did you like about this?
Oh, I love this game. I could play this game all day. It's a word game. You know me and word
I hate
games.
word games. I do. I'm not good at them. I always clam up and freeze up. Like, and
Yeah.
I'm the worst Scrabble player because like I've used long words in my speech before, but like when it comes to actually playing a game, all of that goes out the window, and all I end up the word to. That's
But
the
you don't
extent,
have
and
to
I look stupid. I look
but you don't have to spell it. You don't have to define it. You don't have to find out the Latin origin of the word.
yes, please. Can you please just use this word in a sentence? It's like a spelling bee all over again. Yeah.
No, no. Well, with sides, it's fun because like you're trying. Oh my gosh, I forgot how the game played.
So, okay. So, sides, there's a row of letters, and you're going to try and pick. I think you pick one of those two cards, and you try and come up with a word with one of those letters.
Yeah, there's
It's a one word clue. You're allowed to give like a one word clue. Like there's a main word that you have. There's
yeah,
a word that you have that you're trying to convey to someone.
there's a
And
card
then
that
the clues are one word clues, and that's where the letters come in. The
the
beginning of
the
the clue
the
is that.
word the word that you have is it actually comes from a card where the person says I think it's a color. If you say like the color or a shape, then you have a course. But there you go.
Mhm.
That's the video showing it. There's a
Rain, sewer. Those are
yeah.
those are the words that the other player's trying to guess.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
and
the
you.
letters
Mhm.
are the clues that you're trying to convey. Okay, yeah, I remember a little bit now.
Yeah, so
I
if
just
I
can't
pick the
explain
letter
it.
P, I might say what pizza or something like that, or you know, if I had Italian
The
food, I
word
don't
if you
know,
had the word Italian, yeah.
something like I don't know. I'm just saying, like that might be something, but you can only grab from the two sides,
Yeah.
from the
And
ends.
if you put it upside down, then that's like the opposite of the clue.
Right. So
So,
if you pick letter H and say hot, but then you turn it on its side, you might indicate oh it's not hot, it's cold.
mhm.
So there are different ways to like arrange the letter that you grab and visually
Yeah.
change its orientation to mean something else.
It's like charades with cards, and I think it's such a cute little precious awesome fun game.
Hmm.
And I want to play this right now. All right.
Yay. All right. Moving on to my number one. I
Yep.
love this game. Return to Dark Tower. This is a game that I finally got my Kickstarter edition in. Took a while, but it was worth it. It was so much fun. It's a cooperative game where you're trying to kill the bad guy, and there's many different bad guys to choose from. And you go around this board. There's 4 quadrants on this board, and you're trying to complete these missions. You're trying to cleanse skulls from these locations so they don't overrun buildings that you have. And you're going to be fighting monsters. You're going to be going to buildings and using their actions there to get special things, new equipment, that kind of thing. But your ultimate goal is to survive long enough and get powerful enough to kill the bad guy. And everything is driven through an app. And a lot of it is like, it does it very well, I think. I didn't have any issues with the app, in my opinion. You can still house roll this game if it gets too difficult. There are ways to modify bad luck in this game via advantages. So you might have an advantage in the forest or advantage in the mountain. So if you were to fight a monster in the mountain, you can use your one advantage, and that will weaken the encounter. So it makes the penalty for going after that enemy easier or less. So normally, if you're facing like a zombie and you're at like a level 3 with that normal penalty, you can use an advantage against that zombie to turn it from a normal penalty to like a level 2 penalty, which is weaker. So you can sort of like strategize what advantages you want to go after, what events to go after, what based on where everything is at, that kind of thing. We played co-op one game and I loved it. Did you enjoy it too?
I liked it a lot. This would have been on my 4 or 5 list, but you had it on your number one, so I
Yeah.
just took it out.
So what did you like
But
about it?
I loved how unexpectedly, um, it. Oh my gosh, my words. It was very unexpected. Like I was like, okay, I'm gonna like this game. It's gonna be real fun. And then when I played it, I was pleasantly surprised, and I was like, oh my god, I keep saying like a lot, and
Uh huh.
it was a really fun game. Um, the Dark Tower itself surprised the heck out of me because I had no idea that it actually connected with the app and it was multi-featured. I thought it was just decoration. But no, it actually has a bunch of functional features such as the window that shows up on each quadrant, the skulls popping out, even the sound effects. Um, it was really impressive. Um, but there were other games like the Lord of the Rings Adventure and Destinies
Mm-hmm.
uh, that had that sort of
App.
open, yeah, the apps and the open world exploration type of thing. I think they did it better. However, I really enjoyed this one and I liked the characters. I do wish they had more characters, um, as many as Dice Thrones, but obviously, that's my.
Yeah, that's my complaint. There's 4 in the main box, and
Mhm.
there's 4 with the Alliances expansion, and there's 4 with the Covenant expansion. However, like I don't want to spend 50, $60 just to get 4 new characters, and these characters typically pair with that expansion. So like if you're playing with the Alliances expansion, you need to use the heroes in that expansion. I would love just to pay like a $10 expansion for like 12 to 15 new characters, complete with all of the stuff they would need. Just a separate like just a hero pack, so
Mhm.
that I can use these heroes with any of the expansions or the base game that I want. I would love something like that, just to because I don't want to see the same characters over and over and over again. I would love to
Yeah.
see some variety there.
Hmm.
But yeah, I really enjoyed this, and I love, like you said, the tower. The plates are on, like there's actually 3 levels to the tower, and you take the plates off, and it'll either show a relic or no, relic or a glyph or whatever it is, a glyph, and that glyph will prevent you from doing something or give you a negative status effect, or it'll just create a hole, in which case the skulls can pop out of there too. And then the tower will rotate every so often, and that will cause skulls to spit out at different quadrants or glyphs to appear in different quadrants that they weren't before. It's so much fun. So, anyway.
That's why, that's like, I love the characters themselves too, because they're all unique and they have different kinds of abilities. And I love that you can have curses too, and you can even build your character with the items that you buy,
Mhm.
or the artifacts that you gather, and you can end up being really, really strong and yet still have a tough time because of all the enemies that are coming out, or all the buildings that are getting destroyed by those skulls.
Mhm.
And I love that it has that Castle Panic momentum where it starts off really good, but then like the monsters start really spawning, and you're about to
Mhm.
croak. It doesn't Pandemic have that too? Like it just keeps stacking and stacking.
Yes, the one deck in Pandemic, it keeps recycling, so
Mm-hmm.
the cubes keep coming out onto places where it's already been. If that
Yeah.
makes any sense. Yeah. The enemies in this game get stronger, so their penalties start off at like level 4 or 5 after a while.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to spend more advantages to take them back down to normal or easy. So you need more resources to combat them. Yeah.
There's also these side objectives that you can optionally go after, but sometimes they'll be on the different side of where you are, and you won't have time to do it, and that's when you kind of have to pick and choose. Okay,
Hmm.
so before time runs out, should I, keep going and build myself up to get stronger to defeat the final boss, or do I go
Hmm.
and do the side objective and maybe it'll reward me? And the combat isn't too bad. The combat is reliant on all the things that you have to gather. What are they called?
There's
The
warriors. There's
warriors.
yeah,
Yeah.
mainly, but like it's more like, see, this game is like you're always going to beat your foe pretty much. The thing is, how badly do you get hurt in the process? So like when you fight a foe, all you have to do is get through 2 or 3 of its cards that you pick. Once you get through all of those cards, you win. You don't have to roll successes. You don't have to do anything. You just have to survive what it throws at you. And if you survive all it throws at you, you win the encounter and you remove the enemy from the board. But to survive those encounters, when you draw those cards, this one might say lose 5 warriors. This one might say, lose this, lose an item. And for everything that you cannot do to take that penalty, you gain a curse or corruption, I think it is. And if you gain 3 corruptions, the game is over.
Yeah.
So unless you're that one character from the Covenant expansion, which I think thrives on that. I think he can handle more. But anyway. So yeah, I like this one. I would totally play it again.
Yep.
Your number 1 was the Turing Machine.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Very
another
logic heavy. Like it's like Mastermind, the board game from when I was a kid. But this one's a lot more thinky. So what did you like about this?
It's another logic workbook. It's just a board game.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was a kid, I used to get, for fun, in the summers, my mom would get me these math workbooks and these logic puzzle workbooks that I would beg her for. And I would just stay in my room all day just doing those. So like for this to be a board game and have it be a very interactive, mathy type of thing, it's really cool. It's really fun. So how does it play, Mr. Vince?
It's your entry. You tell me. Okay, anyway. So your goal is to find the code. And the code is 3 numbers. And there's going to be a triangle, a square, and a circle. And this is all from memory, by the way. And in order to find the code, the game will give you different logic condition cards that you can pick from throughout the game. Like ask the machine questions via these cards. And based on your choice and and the like, you're going to pick the appropriate you're going to pick the appropriate number that you like. Let's say you pick 531. And then you're going to slot those cards into like the main Turing machine code breaker thing, and it'll say whether or not it's true or false or whatever, or whether or not the condition has been met or not. So you're eliminating numbers based on the cards. It's kind of hard to explain.
It is.
But like you're using condition cards to eliminate numbers, to either verify or disprove numbers in the guess that you had. So if you pick the number 254, for example, and you pick a certain condition card, you might be able to eliminate, okay, well, it's not the purple 4. It's not the 4 on the purple side, so I can eliminate that. But if it's correct, then maybe it is. So it's either going to, the machine will either give you a yes or no answer based off of a green check mark or a red X. And that's via the cards that you slot together, and it'll give you the correct symbol based on what your guess is. The numbers and the thing work together to give you that result. It's really cool. The game itself has puzzles in the rulebook, but the app is free, and they can randomly generate them for you on your preferred difficulty. So it's infinite replayable. It's really good.
I remember when you were trying to explain this to me in the beginning, and I was like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't even know what you're trying to say to me right now. And then when you finally showed me how it actually worked, because you have to actually slot them in certain places in order for things to actually show up, and I was like, oh, okay, so it's like a little, like, it's an actual machine that you have to like
You
work
see
with.
on that video there, the different number cards have dots on them, and or just spaces rather, just empty holes. When you slot those 3 cards together into the one thing, only one result comes up, and it's either going to be a yes or a no.
Yeah,
And that yes or
so
no
clever.
will determine the answer to the condition card that you asked about, if that makes any sense. And then you use that result to eliminate numbers from your. It's just 1 through 5, but it takes time to eliminate those numbers via your guesses.
Yeah, and we played this like a co-op game, right? Didn't we?
No,
kind of?
it's competitive. You can play solo and just work together. That's fine too. That's what we did. But competitively, you're trying to get the answer before your opponent does.
Yeah. So we were trying to work together to get the answer, right?
On the solo play, yeah.
On the solo play. Yeah.
Where you just took over and kind of did your thing while I was editing video for the competitive play, and then you sat there and just did your own thing for a while. It was fun.
It was so fun. I don't know. I like this game a lot. I want to play that and Sides at the same time. So
You're weird.
what can I say?
But yeah, I reckon if you can find it, I don't know if it's available anymore. Like it was hard to get when it first came out. I don't know what it's like now. But yeah, totally check this one. If you like logic puzzles, again, the difficulty is adjustable. The decision cards that you can ask the computer, the cards that you can ask of the computer, they can either be super simple or super complex. So that's what makes the difficult. Yeah, that's what makes it more. That's what modifies the difficulty of the game. If you use a lot of condition cards that are like more straightforward, it makes the game easy because you're getting a straight answer. Whereas with the more complex cards, it might be more difficult to get an answer on a certain number that you had a question about, if that makes any sense. But anyway, so yeah, that was Turing Machine. I do want to quickly shout out one before we leave today. This is a game that is not out yet, but I had a great time with, and I've covered it several times. I even released my own solo mode for it. And I'm waiting for my Kickstarter to come in. The developer was nice enough to give me a Kickstarter copy, whatever, and it'll be coming whenever it's done. Production's going to be a while. This would have been on my list this year had it still not been in development. But it's called Star Tycoon, and it's an engine builder where you're putting planets down, and under those planets you're putting developments. And it's an engine builder in the sense that these developments have like resources on them, and at the beginning of every round you gain the income of those resources, which help you then you can spend those on getting more things. And in the meantime, you're trying to satisfy various conditions, you're trying to earn points. There's a market where resources have a value and you can buy and sell these resources. There are event cards that pop up. I even designed 2 of the event cards as part of the Kickstarter. The developer was kind enough to include some of my ideas, so that was really cool. So I really enjoyed this, and I can't wait for my actual copy to come in. So that was Star Tycoon. You can play it on Tabletop Simulator. I also have the hard copy at home, but the rules have changed significantly since I received that hard copy. After the Kickstarter was over, the developer actually created a slightly new rule set while working with a publisher on this. So they kind of fine-tuned the rules a bit and changed it. So that video, the hard copy video, is not accurate, but the more recent Tabletop Simulator ones are. So if you are interested, check this one out. Anything else to say before we go?
My honorable mention was that Forest Shuffle game that we had recently
You
played.
liked Forest Shuffle? I had a hard time with that one only because it was just by default the tableau got so big, it was just so hard to manage all of it. My modified rule set with only using so many cards, I think that made it much more enjoyable for me.
Mm-hmm. I still want to try it without trees because trees are pretty overpowered, and I don't like that you have to tuck so many cards in, and I don't like that the adjacent cards don't, like the left and right cards don't really affect the up and down cards most of the time. But I loved the theme of the game, and I love that you can actually kind of engine build your points, depending on the cards that you build. So I don't know, I thought it was a pretty fun game. So
I liked it. Any other honorable mentions, or was that it?
I had more, but they were too big, so I just deleted the whole thing.
Okay, fine.
There's so many.
No, we played a lot of games this year, so yeah. Thanks everyone for sticking with us. It's a long video, but it's still enjoyable. Yeah, I don't know what else to say, but thank you everyone. What?
I was gonna say we dedicate this video to the dog that recently.
Yeah, Sarah. Yeah, unfortunately, our German Shepherd recently passed. She was around 8 years old. Most German Shepherds get that hip. It's like the name escapes me off the top of my head, but it's a problem with the spine, and it's a permanent disease. It's terminal that just slowly creeps up and just disables the entire dog. And at some point, you have to put the dog down, otherwise they're just going to suffer at that point. So she was reaching that point, and we didn't want her to go through any pain, so we did. Made the difficult decision to put her down. That was about 2 weeks ago. Last week we adopted a new dog. His name is Tiki. Is he up there with you?
I think so. Tiki.
He's
somewhere.
He's sleeping. He's a 3-legged Pomsky, half Pomsky, half Husky. He's high energy, and
I'm with you.
Huh?
He might be with you.
My door's shut, so he's got to be around there somewhere. He's right.
Oh,
there he is.
There he is. Tiki.
There he is. Doing that crawl thing. Yeah. We're still getting used to his mannerisms because he's still a relatively new dog. And the fact that he's got 3 legs, it doesn't really slow him down too much. He's still very active. You wouldn't know it that he's got 3 legs. I mean, he hops, but he doesn't like complain about it. So yeah, he's 1 years old, and he's crazy. So
he's so cute.
He is.
But yeah, it's very different from our old dog.
Yeah, German Shepherds and Pomskys, very different mannerisms, let me tell you. Mm-hmm. So, all right, folks. Well, that's a quick update for you. Again, special thanks to my Patreon supporters for your continued support. I know I want to do a podcast so I can read off your names like I always do. I've been giving you keys every month like I promised, but I haven't done podcasts recently, mainly because I've got tinnitus in my ears now, and it's actually painful for me to have headphones on for too long, and it's awful because that affects my gaming, that affects my content creation, it affects a lot of things. So I'm trying to do less of that now, but still pump out enough material every day for you guys so that you're enjoying my stuff. And the fact, but I enjoy doing this stuff. I wouldn't be creating content if I didn't enjoy it, because I love games, and I love teaching games, and I love showing off games. So I'm going to continue doing this for as long as I can because I enjoy it, regardless of the medical challenges that go with it. But yeah, that's just a quick update for you. I want to do another podcast. I really do. I just don't know when that's going to happen. I really don't. It's just between medical stuff and the dog and everything else. It's just been a crazy year. But ending on a positive note, thank you so much, everyone, for your continued support and for sticking with us. So, all right. Well, this is Vincent Ida Lee. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you all next time. Take care.
Hi, guys.